I don't want to play this game. Oh, fine.
Oh, Metroid Other M. Where do I start with you? Let's get something out of the way right now. I am going to be going through this entire game, explaining in great detail every single reason why I hate this game. If you, for some weird reason, love this game, and can't handle someone criticizing it, please do both of us a favor and click the X button at the top right corner of your screen. Also, I'm going to be spoiling the entirety of Metroid Other M's story to you in this video. The whole thing. This is not a spoiler warning. This is a warning that you are going to know the Metroid Other M story. If you want to spare yourself from that horror, run away and don't look back. We good? Okay then. I was actually excited for this game when it was revealed about 6 years back. I hadn't played the Prime Trilogy yet, as I was under the incredibly naive and stupid impression that those games were Halo clones. And this game seemed to be going back to the traditional Metroid formula. Not only that, it was actually going to explore Samus's personality and story, expanding on the official Metroid manga, which I had actually read. So I was pretty excited for this game. It came out, got decent reviews, but something stopped me from getting the game. I was seeing in some reviews that the game ruined Samus's character, that the game went against the traditional Metroid formula, that the game was sexist, but it was still getting pretty good reviews. Odd. So I held off on buying it, and avoided all Other M videos and articles. If the game really did ruin Samus's character, I would prefer not to know anything about it. Obviously, that didn't work. A few years of ignorant bliss later, after watching only 2 videos on the game, one being 2 guys reacting to the Other M theater mode, and the other being a dramatic reading of an article explaining why Metroid Other M is a story that romanticizes abusive relationships. What? No, this is Nintendo. There's no... Oh my god, it actually makes sense. Oh, I need a minute. After those 2 videos, I was pretty sure that I wholly despised this game. I've got the videos and article linked in the description below, and I would recommend people to watch them. But you can't have an educated opinion without actually playing the game, and I'm happy to say, after playing through the whole game, that I hate this game even more. Other M starts out with a flashback to the epic final boss scene from Super Metroid, when a baby Metroid saves Samus from Mother Brain, dying in the process, giving her the Hyper Beam with its dying breath, which Samus uses to absolutely destroy Mother Brain. It was one of the most iconic scenes from the SNES era, and one that they almost completely ruined. Instead of the silent, powerful scene, where the players were the ones reacting to what was happening, angrily killing Mother Brain to avenge their fallen savior, we had Samus, desperately reaching out towards the baby Metroid, the life-sucking dangerous parasite, I might add, helplessly watching as it explodes, its remains tragically cascading around her, reaching out to catch one, trying way too damn hard to make the player feel sad about the Metroid dying. And it ends up being so much worse than the Super Metroid scene. You know, the one that was made several decades ago. Oh, and the Hyper Beam is orange now. It's just... I don't even know. This sets up nicely for the rest of the story. Trying way too damn hard. From Samus's constant droning monologues, explaining every single thing that did, is, and might happen in excruciating detail, to having all the motherhood symbolism repeatedly shoved down your throat, right down to the anagracronym of a title spelling out mom and mother. But I'll rant more about the story later. Samus then wakes up to a quarantine officer's voice, and immediately narrates that she woke up to a quarantine officer's voice.
I awoke to the familiar voice of a quarantine.
Get used to that. Samus will narrate everything in this game. Then she has to check that her suit functions properly, and we get our first taste of gameplay.
Also, my battery's running out apparently. Not even my Wii remote wants to play right now.
Now, before anybody says it in the comments, yes, the gameplay in this game is pretty good. However, it is also severely flawed in the most nonsensical ways. First off, this game uses the Wii remote, and only the Wii remote. No nunchuck. You are moving through a 3D environment with a D-pad. It's so nonsensical. This may be one of the dumbest game design choices I've ever seen, especially given the reason for it. The creator of this game, Sakamoto, who, by the way, is responsible for pretty much every bad thing in this game, decided that he wanted to emulate how the original Metroid development team was forced by hardware limitations to come up with creative solutions to development problems. So he forced the development team to use a single Wii remote. Now, I think that speaks for itself, but just in case a few of you didn't catch on to that, he intentionally created limitations for his own game! So we're stuck with the D-pad in a 3D environment. Fine, I'll deal with it. It only screwed me over half a dozen or so times while playing. This game features an interesting combat system. Most of the time, you're in a third-person view, dodging and shooting enemies. But if you point the Wii remote at the screen, you enter a first-person view, sort of like Metroid Prime. This view is the only way you can shoot missiles, so it's definitely required for you to use it. However, you will rarely use this, because you can't move while in this view. Sakamoto, who, by the way, says that he regretted absolutely nothing about the project, and felt that very little could have been changed or been done better. Said he didn't want players to be confused as to where they were after leaving this search view, so he didn't let us move. This excuse is absolute bullshit. My personal theory is that he realized, oh no, I made the decision to use only Wii remotes. It's near impossible to move in this view with a Wii remote. So he didn't let us move. Brilliant. Because of this, you will only use this function unless you absolutely have to. But even when you have to, you don't want to. Here's why. I'm right-handed, so normally I am playing the game like this. Left thumb on D-pad, right thumb pressing the 1 and 2 buttons. But to swap to first-person view, I have to hold it like this. Right thumb on the A button, left thumb awkwardly trying to press the 2 button, because that's the only way you can use regular charge shots if you're locked onto a target. So I have to juggle the Wii remote between these two positions. It's not convenient. Especially with a nunchuck, they could have just toggled it to the Z or C buttons. But don't worry, Sakamoto doesn't regret any of this. There is one more thing about the controls that really bugs me, and that's the fact that, compared to other Metroid games, this one's gameplay goes for more style over substance. You can double tap the directional arrows to quickly dodge an enemy attack, instantly filling your charge shot in the process. You can also jump onto and finish off enemies with these really cool execution style moves. But the actual gameplay? It's kind of dull in comparison to previous entries. 90% of this game is mashing the directional arrows and firing charge shots. It's still decently fun, but it's so mindless compared to other games in the series. I think that's all my complaints on the gameplay right now, but don't you guys worry, I will have more. Let's continue. After testing out all of your abilities for this rather creepy scientist...
Sharp looking charge beam, just the way I like it. So, you plan to just sit there when something grabs you? Okay, those are the moves I remember. I gave your suit a polish so you'd be at least somewhat presentable.
More cutscenes play, and Samus receives a directive to go to the bottle ship, following the distress signal called the baby's cry, after monologuing about the baby Metroid, followed by the mom-mother title showing up, and why is there so much motherhood symbolism? I didn't make up any of that. This is how the game is written. And remember, all of this is delivered in the most monotone voice I've ever heard.
Codename Baby's Cry. A common SOS with the urgency of a baby crying. The nickname comes from the fact that the purpose of the signal is to draw attention.
Which Sakamoto, who, by the way, said that
the primary focus of the game was to show Samus's personality, since the Prime series left many players with their own idea of who she was, and I want her to be consistent for any future titles.
he intentionally instructed the voice actor to speak in a monotone voice. I told you all of this was Sakamoto's fault. And before anybody says it, yes, a monotone voice is a sign of strength in Japan. But guess what? Samus isn't speaking Japanese! So we're in the bottle ship, and we get our first taste of the infamous search sections, which basically replace the scan visor from the Brian games. What's this? Press and hold B on the area you want to examine. Okay, what am I looking for? But this thing? This? Is it the ship? Hello? That light? That light? That light? Is it that? What? Oh. Oh, you have to hold it in place! You have to point your cursor over a certain section of the screen, hold it there for a bit, then the story will continue. Compared to the scan visor, which gave you enemy info, cool artwork, interesting lore, and was actually easy and fun to use, this is laughably lackluster. It's like those I Spy or Where's Waldo books, except not nearly as interesting. So we go through this door and... No. You don't have to shoot the doors to open them. You don't have to shoot the doors to open them. You don't have to shoot the doors to open... This is easily the biggest thing that bugs me about this game. It takes so many staple things about the previous Metroid games and either throws them away or dumbs them down for no reason. When I think of Metroid, I think of isolation, of exploration, finding cool power-ups in order to further explore an alien world, of a subtle, simple, yet interesting story that I was able to get invested in. It allowed me to immerse myself in the gameplay. It wasn't Samus exploring these worlds and fighting these enemies, it was me, and I loved it. This game has none of that. There are very few moments in the game where you actually feel isolated. The game is stupidly linear, forcing you to follow the game's story most of the time. The story is in your face and atrocious. This doesn't feel like a Metroid game. It isn't a Metroid game. It's a game given a Metroid skin in order for it to actually sell. Do you shoot doors? No. Do you exploit enemy weaknesses with a variety of power-ups in order to defeat them? With very few exceptions? No. Do you hunt for power-ups? The game tells you exactly where they are after you've cleared out all the enemies in the room. Do you search the environment for cool new abilities? No. You have them authorized for you. Do enemies drop health and missile pickups? No. The only way to replenish health and missiles in this game is by visiting a save point, or by concentrating. What the hell does that even mean? How far have I gotten into the game? Have I even reached my first real enemy yet? Perfect. Heading into the bottle ship, you come face to face with a squad of Galactic Federation soldiers, led by Samus's former commander, Adam. I'm not going to go into the interactions between Samus and Adam too much, otherwise this video would be twice as long as it already is. Read the article in the description if you want more info on that. I don't necessarily agree with the entire article, but more than enough of it makes sense. At best, this game's story has disturbing undertones and a truckload of sexism, and at worst, it sends a message that absolutely disgusts me. A message of male dominance and romanticizing abusive relationships. You know, Nintendo stuff. Anyway, you meet up with Adam and his soldiers, which the game introduces as if they are all important, but you will only remember Anthony's name.
Remember me?
Quick note on Anthony, he's easily my favorite part of this entire game. He's not exactly a stellar character, but he's a nice guy. He has positive character traits, something that all the rest of the characters in this game lack. Okay, good lord, how many tangents have I gone off of in this video? Not enough. Samus decides to follow Adam's orders, having him authorize when she can use her equipment, because a bounty hunter who has saved the galaxy several times can't be trusted with her own abilities. That means that apart from the diffusion beam and the secret missiles, you have all of your abilities at the very beginning of the game. But you can't use them. Adam won't let you. Not just your dangerous weapons, like the bombs and missiles, but even abilities like the space jump, grapple beam, and her Varia and gravity suits. Samus won't use these items until Adam lets her, even if her or other people's safety is dependent on being able to use that item. Now, let's ignore how utterly stupid that is in regards to the story, because that's self-explanatory, and look at it from a gameplay perspective. In previous Metroid games, you had to search the world to find cool power-ups. You would get situations like, "Wow, I found the super missiles? This is awesome! I do so much more damage now! Suck it, Space Pirate, you die in one shot now, haha!" Or, "Cool, I found the Varia suit, Samus looks way cooler now, and I can explore this cool lava area, and find even more cool power-ups." Not the case in Metroid Other M. Instead of, "Wow, I get to use the grapple beam now? I can swing all over the place." It's more of, "Oh, finally! What the hell took you so long, Adam? That could have been helpful earlier." I'm not excited about using the Varia suit to explore new areas. I'm shouting at Adam, wondering why he didn't activate it sooner when I died from heat damage. I don't feel satisfied when Samus activates the space jump. I am shaking my head, wondering why Samus was so stupid as to not activate it sooner. Hey guys, sorry to cut this short, but this video is getting way too long. I'm only about a third of the way through my script, and I haven't even entered the first sector of the battleship. I realize that not everyone wants to watch a 50-minute video, so I'm going to split this into 3 parts. Let me know in the comments if you'd prefer the shorter segments or one big video, because otherwise I will probably do this for all my future long videos as well. Unless something goes wrong, I should have part 2 finished in a few days. So until then, I hope you're all enjoying life. Like, share, and subscribe if you so desire, and I'll see you in part 2.